Yeah, and welcome to another video. I'm Brett Papa, and today I am super freaking pumped. Marshall, thank you very much for sending me out this Jubilee to check out. Holy smokes. This is one of those amps that kind of was like, went under the radar with me. And then when I was at Sweetwater, they had the big one and the little one right next to each other, and I plugged into them both, and they had them on a little amp switcher. It's going back and forth, and I was like, how have I not ever owned one of these amps? They're so good. If I were to have a rock gig, like a cover band or something like that, this 100% would be like in the top 2 choices I would make all the time. Now, right off the bat, from my last video, I got a lot of people saying, "I know, man, but they're not cheap." They're not cheap. They're a professional amp, but they're freaking amazing. I've had the little SV20, I think it's like the kind of plexi version, for a while now. Such a killer amp. I can't even explain how good it sounds, but this one, I turned it on because I hadn't played a Jubilee in, God, I don't even remember how long, but I was like, wow. This is one of those ones I plugged straight in and I was like, I don't need anything. And the loop works amazing. Freaking, I cannot tell you how amazing this amp is. Plus, there's channel switching, so it's gonna cover all your bases for you. Now, let me go right off the bat and say I'm going into this head, into an aux, which there's no speaker involved in this whole equation. It's a 412 simulation, and then they also, you can pick the mics or whatever you want it to sound like. So we're pretending we're in a studio with a 412 cab, a 57 160 condenser mic, and then a stereo pair in the back, whatever. The aux is its own piece of amazingness, but that's what the cabinet emulation is going through. It sounds like this on its own. Okay, the guitar is a Bill Nash guitar. I've got special single coils in it and then a Lowler Imperial low wind. All the information on the pickups are down in the description box. Almost everything I'm using today is available in the description box. If you want to check my Sweetwater page, all the Universal Audio gear, all the Marshalls, all that stuff is available there. The Van Halen Strat I'm going to use, which is, God, it's so good. All of that is on my page. Now, pedal-wise, what I'm gonna go through is I've got some effects so you guys can hear in the loop. You heard it in the intro. I've got an Astra. Does that not nail the spirit of the radio? Listen to this, check this out. I mean, man, that is good. These are all Universal Audio pedals, which they sent those out to me recently to check out too. Their pedals are freaking fantastic. I had Andy Wood over here, and he had the reverb and the delay. And I was like, God, those things sound good. So I went to Sweetwater. I got to hang with the main guy who created all the pedals, and they sent some out to me to check out. And I gotta say, man, these effects pedals are ridiculous, right? So we got, here's the reverb. And then the delay, which is called the Starlight. Check it out when you put like a wah with it. That is the Super Wah by Full Tone, my favorite wah ever. And then the other pedals I'm gonna use today are going to be the Jeff pedal, which is an Archer version of a Rocket pedal. It's modded. It's like kind of like a Klon, but has been modded in the way that Jeff Beck likes the pedal. Killer pedal. Barber LTD SR, amazing overdrive, one of my favorites ever. And then a Boss 7-band EQ, but it's been modified to be a little bit more guitar-centric by Exact Tone Solutions in Nashville. So for most of what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna use the amps inherent tone, and then maybe just, you know, if I wanna hear a little bit something extra, I wanna accentuate some high end or something like that, I might add another pedal, but I'll tell you what I'm doing. So as far as the amp sound goes, I kind of stick to more of the gain and overdrive sounds. I typically always have a little bit of gain on. I never play completely clean. Now, if you're wanting demos like that, there's a ton of fantastic demos that have already been done like that. Studio Rat's channel is a fantastic gear demo channel. He really did a deep dive on all of these amps, and it's one of the best sounding demos. He's also a fantastic player. I think there's 2 of them, but the main guy I'm talking about is a fantastic guitar player too, so make sure you check out his channel. It's the Marshall channel, does a great job of it. There's a lot of other great demos out there that actually focus on the clean sounds as well. But for now, we're just gonna gain it up. All right, let's get into it. For this demo, I'm gonna keep everything kind of like straight up and down, right? For the most part, the knobs, presence is on 4.5, bass is on, let's say, 3.5. Right, so we can turn these up a little bit if you want. Definitely has a ton on tap, right? So that's with the bass up. So this isn't one of those amps where the EQ doesn't do anything. The EQ is crazy on this amp. It like really works, and there's a bajillion tones all over the place, right? You can get anything you want, right? Check out the treble. Mid is killer. Okay, so it's got a foot switch. It is 20 watts and also can be, you know, switched down to 5. Now, it's not quiet by any means, but unlike the SV20, it's got more of a master volume circuit on this one, so you can turn it down, which automatically I think makes it a little bit more flexible than the SV20. If you haven't seen that demo I did on that amp, check it out. I'll leave it in the description box as well. Superb amp. That amp blew me away. I can't believe that you can get full-blown 100-watt plexi tones into a small package like that. That amp is insane, amazing for classic tones. But if I was gonna do a cover gig or something like that to where I needed flexibility, I needed a clean channel, I needed rhythm and lead, I needed all that stuff, and effects loop, well, both amps have an effects loop, but all of those things, I would probably consider this over that just because it's a little bit more flexible. It has more gain on tap, which I'm a huge fan of. So if you like hard rock and all that stuff, wicked gain amp, right? So check this out. I mean, a little delay in there. And then again, the lead tones. The note definition's super. But the neck pickup. Love that. It just got just that perfect amount of bite. I'm gonna turn down this a little bit. What I love is it does a really good job of getting that kind of hollow, bluesy, like, I don't want to say 80s because a lot of that stuff was a little bit scoot, but if you mixed like David Gilmour and the 80s together, it has this like scooped killer, really good with the neck pickup. The gain is amazing, but it does have a clean channel, right? is like, okay, you know, right now I'm already singing the blues because you got a Marshall. What do you need a clean channel for? It's what your guitar's volume is for. But I'll add a little verb. Right, if you want to do a pickup. Now, if you wanted to use it kind of as a pedal platform, that's a good option. I mean, it sounds great. The clean channel is decent. It's not like award-winning, but it definitely gets the job done. And if you pair it with some other pedals, then you really have a lot of flexibility at your fingertips. And if you're wanting to kind of make it not sound like a Marshall at times, like maybe you got a cover gig and you want it to sound like a Vox and you have a Vox style pedal, then you could totally go clean channel and then use whatever that kind of pedal is, using it as a platform. But I'll tell you what, man, the gain, the rhythm, and the lead channels are so freaking good that when I'm here at home, I don't plug in anything into them other than, you know, if I want some effects, I just go straight into the amp and use my guitar's volume. All I need, right? So, I can go over here, I can turn down the gain a little bit and get it more clean. It's decent, right? It's not bad. But right now I've got the input on the rhythm channel. It's pushed in. There is a pull circuit. Let me switch the channels. God, it's so good. You can pull that way back. Put a little delay on there. Right there, that tone, when I hear that, how good it reacts with a neck pickup, and this is a Loller Special. In the back is an Imperial low wind, a Loller as well. Those are all listed down below in the description box if you want to check those out. But that, to me, already, it just has that kind of a little bit of a growl to it, and I know that as soon as I up the gain a little bit, but check it out, it's still pretty clear. Right, if I just roll down my volume a little bit. This is really how I would use the clean, right? And then just really lighten the touch. I was learning some Dokken, Dream Warriors. God, it's such a good song. So, George Lynch is one of the most freaking awesome rhythm guitar players ever, too. Just killer, like... But there's a clean part, because you kind of had to have a clean part in the 80s, right? There's got to be something. And I was like, I wonder if I could just roll down the... That's close enough. Get a little clean in there. Now, if you notice right there, sometimes with different tones, right? I mean, not every amp is going to just be perfect. Everything we've ever heard on recordings or whatever, there's always EQ, there's always all these variables in it. So what I want to get through to you is, even though I step on some pedals here and there, the inherent tone of the amp is so good that it records amazing, it cuts really well. It's just one of those Marshalls where I'm like, how is this not one of the most awesome Marshalls of all time? That's with all the knobs like basically straight up. So I have the presence on like 4, the bass on about 3, the middle on about 4.5, the treble is straight up, and the master is straight up. Now it's 20 watts or 5 watts, not gonna lie, both are loud, but the 5 watts is totally manageable. I mean, are you going to be able to play at 3 a.m. in your apartment? No, but like, are you going to piss off a neighbor 12 houses down at 2 o'clock in the daytime? No. So there's plenty of flexibility there. The master is actually really good on the amp, so you can turn it down. The other amp I did the demo of, the SV20, it's really not so much a master volume amp, so you don't have as much play, whereas I think this one has a lot more flexibility because there is a master that you can turn down. Now that being said, I'm a huge aux proponent. I do a majority of what I do in a studio environment, which is what these were made for anyways, but I do a majority of my stuff through there, so volume's never a problem. And, you know, could people tell I'm not playing through a cab? I mean, maybe, I don't know. Right? But again, you can roll that down. Now we're barely doing anything on the gain, so I can pull that up. All right, I'll take off the effects. Here, check it out. I'll give you a guitar with a little bit more, a hotter pickup. These pickups are real low output. The trusty Van Halen guitar. Best hard rock guitar I've ever played in my life. So good. Everything about it. The neck feels amazing. But, right, so maybe I'll step on a little bit of a boost. Right, so if you're a fan of adding a little bit on the front end of the gain amp, back in the day in the 80s, it was super common to have either an amp like this or an 800 and use like a Boss overdrive pedal or something to kind of push the front end, a tube screamer or something like that. Works fantastic for that, right? So. That's if I step on the Boss EQ. Right, and that's not even the most gain you can get out of the amp. Check this out. Now this is a little bit more compressed sounding. Sounds amazing, right? What's the other one? full Zach Wild. And then if you wanted to boost it with like just an EQ. What about with a little chorus? Let's check this out and see what we got. Whoa, bit of barf. Let's see. What do we got? Turn down everything here a little bit and just got a little less chorus going on here. Again, dry, roll down the volume. And this is a super hot pickup, right? So we go like 14K. Now, for those of you who like more of the single coil thing, the blues kind of vibe, I can see why Bonamassa uses these things, because they just sound, there's something about the neck pickup on these, with these amps. It just sounds so... And if I push this back in. If I add like a little treble to it. good for every video, right? At least one flub. Okay, so with the wah. If you want to do that kind of slash thing, it's such a great amp. I can't speak highly enough. I've had it probably for about, I don't know, maybe like a month and a half. And every single day I just plug into this thing and I'm like, God, this thing is amazing. They did not give me this amp. It's just on loan. So, you know, I could have hated it and said, you know, you guys got a total dog on your hand, but they don't. All of these little studio series I've played so far, the only one I haven't played is the 800 one, but I've heard demos that sound just absolutely killer. They're all fantastic. They all retain that big amp sound. I've played this back to back with the other one that's, you know, I don't know, I think there's like an $800 or $900 sound difference. Price difference, sound difference. What I was getting at is there is a sound difference, but not good or bad, just a little bit different, right? The 4-tube version, the 100-watt might sound just a hair bigger, but other than that, the tone of both of them is fantastic. How did this amp not become one of the greatest rock amps ever? I mean, what? Lead tones, fantastic. Again, if you want to switch to the clean. So that's like just adding the EQ. Check this out. If you wanted to add a little life to the clean, just little EQ. That's the other section I really like is notice the attack with the plucking. Again, you got the pull knob you can work out. Thins it out a little bit. Go wait. All right. If you want to add a little bit of mids or a little bit of treble there, you could do that. Back that down a little bit. How's that go? A long time since I played that. All right, so to sum it all up, I know people are gonna ask me, which one should I get? That's totally up to you. If you're into classic rock, all that kind of stuff, you love the Hendrix, the old school Van Halen, all of those kind of classic plexi-based tones, the SV20 is an amazing, amazing amp. I love mine, I use it all the time. I bought that amp, so I'm totally unbiased with that opinion. Not that I'm, biased with if somebody gives me something anyways. It's not gonna be on this channel if I don't like it. But that one, for flexibility, more volume control, a lot of the hard rock, more like modern Marshall sounds, this amp is terrifying. Like I have both and I'm actually plugged into this one more than the other one. Don't know why, but for some reason when I turn this one on, I'm just like, yes, it sounds really good. I've recorded with it, it records great. So it's just one of those amps you gotta kind of decide what's for you. Do you want full-blown classic Hendrix, Van Halen stuff? The SV20 might be up your alley. If you want a versatile gigging amp, want to be able to play with a little bit more controlled volume, you don't have something like an aux to tone down the volume. This has got a fantastic master, it's got the loop, it's got all of that stuff. It is switchable down to the 5-watt mode, plus you can use the kind of master circuit too. So I think, in a small environment where you're concerned about volume, but then also want to be able to go to a gig and turn it up, this might be the solution for you. The gain is anything from, Guns N' Roses, you can do tons of Killer Chili Pepper style stuff, does the 90s stuff like Pearl Jam, all that stuff really, really good. It has a little bit more of a modern Marshall sound to it. So if you're wanting kind of all that 80s, 90s, 2000s stuff, maybe check out one of those. If you want more of the classic, the Van Halen, the Hendrix, all that previous stuff that's associated with the Plexi, then maybe check out the SV20. If you're of means and want to have a ton of fun, get both. They're amazing. Both of them, I play them all the time. I have a demo coming up soon on this 1987X 50 watt that is, oh my God. It's one of the best amps I've ever played. I turn it on and just like, wow. Amazing, amazing stuff coming from Marshall. So make sure you check that out. Like I said below, all of my gear that I'm using in this video, whether it's the universal audio stuff, all my recording gear, these amps, the auxes, all that stuff's listed on my Sweetwater page if you want to check those out. If you want to buy from those links, that helps out the channel. Just about everything that I use is available there, minus like maybe, the guitars and, well, that guitar is, which is freaking terrifying. One of the best hard rock guitars ever made, in my opinion. But like some of the other stuff I use here, like Divided by 13s, that stuff is not available. But I've listed all the gear I use down below in the description box. Regardless, so check that out. And then if you really want to help the cause, go to brettpapa.com. That's what makes all of this possible. All of my courses are there, plus all the guest instructor courses I've done. We've got stuff from Corey Congilio, Jeff Mackerlang, Mark Lettieri, Jack Roosh. We got Kirk Fletcher coming out. We got Andy Timmons one coming out pretty soon when he gets in here, which he was just here. Holy moly. Wow, what a guitar player. So anyways, I got all that kind of stuff at brettpapa.com, guaranteed to get you better quickly. Tons of different, if you like blues to hard rock, but the cage system, all that stuff is down below. So make sure you check that out. That makes all of this possible. But other than that, you guys are amazing. Let me know any questions you have in the comments section down below. Don't forget to subscribe, click the bell. I got a ton of new stuff coming up. So make sure you click the bell to be notified when those new videos come your way. Thank you for your continued support. We'll catch you next time.